Let's get into it. It's football season, so let's do it. I'm doing it uncut, so it's gonna be a long one. First game of the season was Kansas City and Baltimore. And what a strange game, the way it ended. Get your toe down at the toe. Kevin Durant situation. Well, Kansas City did what they supposed to do. And boy, the receiver they got from the Bills in that trade, I'm telling you, looking like a Junior Whopper version of Tyreek Hill. Kansas City know how to win. Mahomes, Andy Reid doing the thing. The defense came up big. You know, they want to talk about Travis Kelsey's hairdo, whatever. We don't talk about that. I did a separate video about that. But Kansas City looking good. That was an impressive win. Lamar stunk the first half, turned it on the second half. Harbaugh got to do a better job. They got to figure it out, and they can't be using Derrick Henry for like third down back. They got to Lamar can't outrun him. They got to sort that out. I think they'll be good against almost every other team, but I think Kansas City is the kryptonite. So come back on that one. Philly and Green Bay didn't like the game in Brazil, and you saw what happened with Jordan Love at the end. Philly was too much though. AJ Brown with that bomb. Jalen Hurts can throw them bombs. Philly is a more explosive team. So much for Saquon Barkley being overrated. You saw how the Giants turned. I'm gonna address that soon. Philly look good. They could be in for a long run this year. Healthy, motivated, and focused. And they got a top tier player in Saquon Barkley, and the defense and what they got could maybe possibly a rematch. KC Phillies, though you never know. As for Green Bay, Jordan Love's out for a minute. We'll see how they adjust. They were sloppy in the secondary, just like Baltimore was sloppy early on. From time this week one, you'll see how it is. We'll see. Now let's get to the rest of the games. Dallas, Cleveland. Wasn't so much a surprise. Dallas did everything they supposed to do. They usually play good week one. Ezekiel Elliott, Trimmer, they were running, but Deshaun Watson looks lost. He really looked like he lost in the sauce. I don't know what happened to him. He really hasn't been the same since the Houston days, and with everything that's happened off the field and all the other stuff, I don't know. But they and it's sad too, because Cleveland got the talent. They just can't get the quarterback position. They can't get it together. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say about them. Don't get too excited if you're a Cowboy fan. Of course, Dak got the highest paid. CeeDee Lamb got all that. But don't get too excited. It's just week one, and you know how that goes. New Orleans beat Carolina. I got a good friend of mine who's a Carolina fan, Panther fan, and I'll joke with him. I say, every year, y'all get that 4 or 5 wins. He be cracking up. Bryce Young looked horrible. And Derek Carr looked like the Derek Carr that we've been hearing about for like years. He looked like Drew Brees in the Superdome. In some of them instances, I mean, he was thrown off his back, but he had a back foot that had all kinds of time. But they did beat Carolina, so you can't get too excited. But if New Orleans has half that firepower with Alvin Kamara and their defense, they could be a sleeper team. That was impressive. But that was the Carolina looked like they headed for the top 2-3 picks in the draft next year. Minnesota and the Giants. Another brute. I don't know what was uglier, Daniel Jones's game or the Giants uniforms. Both of them were dreadful. The Giants outfits like some rejected Campbell soup commercial, and Daniel Jones sucks. I mean, come on now. He is what put Alabama quarterbacks back. You remember when they used to say the Duke basketball players couldn't play in the pros? They said it about Alabama offensive players. He's one. How he still got a job? They suck. They in for a long season. And Minnesota was playing with them and beat them up. New England upset Cincinnati. Why does Cincinnati always start the season off sluggish and methodical and slow, and then they wake up? Jerry Mayo did a good job. If this was the best Bill Belichick style of a win that Bill Belichick couldn't seem to do post Tom Brady, because it was ugly, 16-10, but a little bit overrunning, enough of defense, enough of possession. It's an ugly game. Jacob Brissett did good enough to win. I don't know what it'll mean. Some people got excited. They will play hard. They just don't have the kind of talent and depth. But it was a win. So, and Cincinnati's notorious for slow starts. We'll see what happens when they get Chase back and all that. But anyway, that's one. Pittsburgh beating Atlanta in a game nobody cared about. Justin Fields did enough to win. Kirk Cousins was throwing picks and looking bad. The Steelers are going to be feisty. And you know what? Jerry Mayo reminds me right now, I'd say like a younger version of Mike Tomlin. Make your team play hard. You give yourself a shot. Even though you're not a top tier team and you're not quite a second tier team, you're good enough to be a team that's going to give you a dog fight. When you got coaching like that and players like that, you give yourself a chance to be a contender, even if you're not that deep. One of the wildest games was Houston Indy. And that pass by Richardson was incredible. He threw some bombs, as did CJ Stroud. Houston won the game. And this is an interesting matchup. If both teams are healthy and the offenses, that's some firepower. I was pleasantly surprised that game turned out to be something. Stephon Diggs looked good in his debut. And Houston is a team on the come up. But Richardson looked good for Indy. So we'll see. Chicago beat Tennessee only because Tennessee quarterback sucked so bad, was throwing bad picks and the special teams. Because Caleb Williams, he was struggling. Their offense was horrible. But a couple picks and some special teams, they pulled the game out. But you're not going to get that luxury against better quality teams. So it's going to be interesting how that turn out with that. Of course, Miami, Jacksonville, everything that happened with Tyreek Hill being profiled for the game starter and Calais Campbell. But Tyreek had that 80-yard run down. Jacksonville was hanging around in the game, and they are a good enough team to kind of hang around. But Miami's defense stood up this game and got more firepower. And that's basically what it came down to, really. But I'm not ready to get excited because, again, I'm not sold on Jacksonville, so don't get excited. It's just week 1. Seattle beat Denver. And I guess you could say Geno Smith is better too. Bo Nixon's debut. It was an ugly game. But a game that somebody who had a little bit better going for him on the other side was going to win. That's what it came down to. I'm still not sold on Sean Payton coming back as Denver's head coach. We'll see how that turns out. I'm not going to make a big deal. Elsewhere, the Chargers beat the Raiders. And I think, I can't say his name, but the Raiders quarterback used to be the backup with Philly. He looked okay on the first drive. They had a couple already drives, but the Chargers put him to sleep. Justin Herbert hit those spots. And I'm going to tell you something. Now that they got a real head coach in Jim Harbaugh, you're going to see the Chargers not make those same kind of choke mistakes they made before. They finished this game up. It wasn't nothing pretty, but they won the game. And, the Raiders are going to play hard, but they're just not that good of a team. Some things you can see off the bat. Tampa Bay beat Washington. Baker Mayfield looked like a stud. He looked like the second coming of I don't know, I'm trying to think of somebody I would put in front of mine like an updated version of Doug Flutie. He couldn't miss. Washington on the field, off the field, they still look the same. They look pathetic. It was embarrassing. One thing about week 1, I'm gonna tell you, though it is week 1, some teams that are fit for the dogs and fit for the top 10 draft, you see why. It was pretty brutal. And they were brutal. Detroit beat the Rams. Overtime. And it was like the South for two halves. Detroit played out their mind first half, got lazy lethargic the second half. The Rams came back. I think Sean McVay's coaching cost the Rams. But this was a real heavyweight fight. This was this game, and Houston Indy was probably my favorite too. Could say KC Baltimore, but it was one of the top 5 games of the week. This was a heavyweight fight. But I do think Detroit's for real. I think they're a team that they're poised. They don't lose games like they used to. And Jared Goff stepped up. Stafford came up too. It's the kind of game you want to see again. And the trade for the quarterback rivalry is real. This is probably the most intriguing that no one saw coming. The Goff, Matthew Stafford, no one saw that coming. This is going to be real interesting if it plays itself out. The last one was last night, the 49ers over the Jets. I know people got excited about Aaron Rodgers, had that great drive, and he had a couple nice passes. But their defense was horrible. James Madison, and when McCaffrey come back, oh man, but Madison was running and busting. Purdy did what he's supposed to, even though he threw some bad passes. He didn't quite connect the end zone, and the field goal kicker had plenty of a workout. But tell you something, Madison was balling. They look scary again. They look unlike, I'd say right now, them and Philly, the 2 best teams in the NFC, I would say, still the same, We'll see how it all plays. This ain't where it counts. Kyle Shanahan knows we don't talk about you in September, October, November, December. We talk about you late January, and can you get it done in February? Because on paper, the 49ers and what you saw last night, as far as the Jets, Aaron Rodgers looks all right, and they'll win some games if he's healthy. But he is 40. He is trying to get himself back into shape and regroup. And I just ain't that deep on the Jets like that. But we will see, because it's just week 1. That is week 1 in the books. Tell me how your teams did. Give me your thoughts and your takes. That was just a quick summary from me. And I'll be doing this out throughout the year if time permits with everything. I'll be doing my weekend review of what I saw on the field, my observations and thoughts. It's not a lot that's going to really be that deep because, again, sometimes week one, some teams play higher, some don't. Injuries, flaws, working out the kinks. But week one is in the book. So please hit like, subscribe, work on thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another share the video if you like. Please hit the membership. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay focused, stay woke, stay real, stay good. I'm out one time. Peace.